Hi, good evening. This is Miss Cynthia's LA. Thank you for joining us, and it's good to be back. And today we're going to explore a little bit more about a cultural impact. And if you've joined us in the past, you know that we've done at least two shows before in this series. We discussed the societal and economic impact, and also our global diversity. And tonight we're going to continue in that vein by discussing how technology has dealt with us, or how we're dealing with technology from the past to the present to the future. Today we are very thankful that we have two guests here today who are knowing and an expert of sorts in the field of technology. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. And we have tonight Mr. Charles Jones and Miss Savannah Jones. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to be here. Thank
Great,
you.
thank you very much. As I mentioned, this series is focused primarily on the cultural impact of various things, people, and places that affect our lives on a day-to-day basis. And we have, as I said, we've discussed previously our society. We've discussed relationships, and that being biracial relationships, how the globalization of our world has affected us in general. And tonight we'd like to talk about technology in particular. Thank you. So tell me, Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about who Charles Jones is.
I'm Charles Jones. I am a technical consultant for Computer Works, California. Just basically deal with computers and just the inside, the outsides. Do some training.
Okay.
Basic repairs.
All right. And tell me, how did you become involved initially with computers?
Initially, it was just something to play with. You know, as I grew up, I was always fond of electronics. I like breaking stuff and trying to put it back together again.
Yes.
And that always intrigued me. Then computers came along, and it's something that really interested me, so I just got into it.
Absolutely. And that is something that you'll find many of us are continually frustrated with, the breaking, and
Yes.
at least we have to call someone like yourself to come to do the fixing, even though we feel that we've done nothing to break them. All right, so you say again that as a youth you liked, you have a mechanical side to you.
Yes.
You liked exploring and fixing and repairing. And who introduced you to technology, though? Was there any one person, a mentor?
No, not really. It was just something I just picked up on. It just I was just interested in computers. I'd purchased one of my own.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I wonder how it works. So I just kind of opened it up and said, ooh, wow.
Yes.
And I broke it, and then I had to figure out how to try and fix it. And then I said, well, let me take some classes, and and that's what I did. And here's where I am.
Okay. So before taking the classes, though, you actually tampered with it yourself, and you went to the various places where they sell computer parts and so forth. How accessible are those people to someone who is not an expert, who is not knowing? So you were a novice at the time. So how easy was it for you to get information walking into a computer store, for instance?
Well, walking into a computer store, sometimes it could be like pulling teeth. Because if you don't know what you have and what's wrong, then it's kind of hard to explain to someone, well, it does this, I turn it on and then it won't turn off, and I push this button and all of a sudden some lights come on, and it's kind of hard to explain to someone exactly what's wrong with your computer. It's similar like a car. You know, you say, well, my car was running fine, all of a sudden it just stopped.
And then when they ask you, what do you think it is, right, when you don't know the right questions to ask.
Yeah, you just like, I just think it's this.
Yes.
And then it comes, and that person has to try and troubleshoot, you know, just tell me what were you doing and what happened.
Okay.
Then we'll just take it from there to troubleshoot what the problem is. And
so the challenge was enough for you to just push forward. You never got discouraged by them looking at you with a blank stare, saying like, "What are you talking about?" Not discouraging at all for you.
Yes, it wasn't at all. It was a, I won't say it was a good feeling, but it was just something different to go through and to see and just to experience.
Okay.
And it was fun.
Right, excellent.
So
your advice to others who are, well, let's say young people, for instance. Like, for instance, we have Savannah here. We're going to speak to you more later about the teenage experience. But so what would you advise a young person, Savannah's age, to, how would they go into the introduction of technology? What would be a first?
One of the first things is just to make sure that that's something that you're really interested in, because it can be a tedious process. There's a lot of training that's involved with it, a lot of schooling. It's like you can take courses upon courses upon courses, because the field is constantly changing.
Yes.
So, one day, you have something that's this way, and 2-3 months later, that same thing is obsolete, and you got to learn this.
Certainly, right.
And by the time you learn that, that's obsolete, and then you have to learn. So it's an ongoing process. But at the same time, if you like challenges, then it's for you. If not, then.
Oh, that brings me to what are the characteristics of a person who is ideally suited for your profession?
Just actually anyone can really do it. It's just just has to be something that you want to do.
Okay.
As long as you have an interest in it, and if you just find different avenues within there to pique your interest.
So is there a truth to that these people are of a certain breed?
Well,
Computer
no.
geeks, I've heard that said, and
No,
for engineers in particular.
I thought about one time putting the tape on my glasses and get the little pocket,
With that whole nerdy geek.
Yeah, the whole nerdy. But that's maybe
yeah.
something from the '80s, But
Okay.
now it's
You're mainstream.
It's mainstream.
All right.
We're up to date on things.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to blend in with everyone else. So
Right.
it's,
And I would imagine highly sought after too. You're no longer
Yeah.
being, considered the person that's off to the side and
Yeah.
inhibited and shy or whatever.
Yes.
I guess you're having to push people away.
Yes, yes. You really have to. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's fun. It's
Oh,
fun.
it is fun.
It's fun.
Okay.
I enjoy it.
All right. And as far as your background, would you say that a person would have to excel in mathematics or sociology, or which of the disciplines as far as our standard learning? would
For
you-
just in the basics, unless you're just getting into programming and just deep within, the other side of computers, then mathematics, as long as you know your basic math skills and everything like that, it's pretty simple.
It is?
It's just basically just learning how to fix stuff
Yes, yeah.
and figuring out why it's not working. We're kind of like mechanics. Like an auto mechanic, but we fix computers.
Right.
It's not a math science involved within the aspects of what I do. But like if you want to get into programming and stuff, then you do have to have some type of background in maths and
It
math
requires a little more extensive
Yes.
education.
Yes, so.
All right. I know that your organization actually is very community oriented, and your mission is to not only be a service of repairing, as a vendor, commercial vendor, but you're also there to help the population, the community.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct. That's part of our statement. Just to help in urban communities,
Okay.
provide affordable and quality service.
Okay.
With computer support and repair. That's what we're doing. And everyone that comes through our doors, once they come in, they say, "Well, my computer's broke. I don't." And we talk and say, "Look, ma'am, sir, let us take a look at it, and we'll take a look at it and fix it. And when they get it, they're happy. Oh, okay, and everyone's happy. As long as we're happy." They're happy,
Right.
and it's like a family thing. And then they come back and they refer friends, because that's what it's all about: customer satisfaction.
Absolutely.
You just can't say, "Oh, something wrong with your computer." Yeah, whatever.
Right, right.
We'll look at it next week sometime.
Okay.
But we jump right on it. That's what we have to do.
Okay. So many of your staff, are they also like you, they had a strong interest from an early age and then just happened to do the hands-on experience and
Yes. That's how it really begins. You just have to have that interest in it, in something new and different.
Okay.
And if you do, then you can go far with it.
right.
And that's what we're doing.
All right. And what's the attraction then for the walk-ins? What type of service would I get when I walk into your door again?
When you walk in, we'll greet you, say how you doing,
Yes.
and how may we help you.
Okay.
And that's the part of it. And if you come in with your computer, we'll take it from you and walk it in, or if it's in your vehicle, we'll walk to your vehicle. We're customer friendly.
Yes.
Because we know computers are heavy. Most people don't know, computers aren't heavy. Well, computers, They can be heavy.
All right.
You know,
fair
so,
enough.
and you know, we're there to help. It doesn't matter who, young, old, in between.
Right.
That's what we're there for, to help.
Okay, so you do encourage the walk-ins, and they're totally ignorant to
Yes,
what they may have in their hand and not knowing what questions to ask.
Yes.
You will guide them through it. And
Yes, because they'll bring it
To
in,
make
and
certain.
we'll sit it to the side, ask them, what's the problem?
Right.
And they say, well, I was going on the internet, and all of a sudden it just stopped working. And then we'll plug up the computer, turn it on, and try and replay the same thing that they went through.
Certainly.
Try and troubleshoot and say, okay, this is what the problem is. We'll take care of it.
Okay.
And them knowing that what we're doing is helping them, they're happy. And we'll just say, okay, sir, ma'am, it's going to take us a couple of days, and we're on it.
Okay, and you primarily service adults, and you also deal with young people as well. So when
Yes,
we come
we do.
back, we'll be speaking to Savannah to ask about the teenage experience, or the techie experience when we come back. Thank you. Please stay with us.
Sometimes when you hear him crying, you can't see him. Other times when you can see him, you can't pick him up. When you can pick him up, your legs might not work to get you there. Multiple sclerosis randomly attacks the nervous system, so you never know what life will be like from one day to the next. After 50 years of helping people with MS, we're closer than ever to a cure. Help us find it.
Hi, thank you. We're now going to visit with Savannah Jones, who is going to talk with us as a teenager, which she is, just recently turned 13. And she's going to give us some idea of what it is to be a teenager and dealing with computers. Our program today, the topic is a cultural impact, and a computer works culture is what we're discussing. Hi, Savannah.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. We've spoken to Mr. Jones about the experience of how he actually got into technology and working with adults and the training and education that's required. I wanted to ask you about your experience to date. Again, you are 13, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. And how long have you been working with computers?
Well,
Or
really,
using?
I started working with computers probably not too long ago.
Okay.
Because I usually didn't really mess with computers that much until my dad got into it. I'm not
Yes.
really into repairing them, but usually into using the internet and Microsoft Word for my homework.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So you are recently coming to having your own, you have your own computer at home?
Yes, I share a computer with my sister.
Oh, fabulous. And how old is your sister?
She's 6 years old.
6, all right. So do you find that you are now a mentor to your sister? Are you teaching her, or are you both learning at the same level? Or
Well, I'm really kind of teaching her what
Absolutely.
she's usually just going on the internet and visiting children's sites right now.
Certainly.
I'm
I knew
teaching.
that. Of course, you're being 13, you would be mentoring her. Okay, so tell me, once the computer is set up in your home, what was your first reaction? Can you recall?
Well, really my first reaction was, wow, this is new. What is it? What can I do with it? And my dad kind of mentored me and
Yes.
told me what could be done with it and how I could use it.
Yes, okay. And again, when you sat before it, you've got the monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, or I don't know what your computer is, how updated it is, but do you type?
Yes, I do.
So you had typing classes previous to?
Well, I have a typing tutor on my computer that my dad gave me,
Oh,
a
there is-
little program that helps me type.
See, I wasn't aware that existed. There's a typing tutor. Excellent. Okay, so that makes it, rather than this, has it assisted you in being able to have hands on board and using fingers without looking at the keys?
Yes, it has.
So it's a good program.
Yes, it varies.
Very good. Okay, you'll have to spread the word about that. And tell me your first frustration. Do you remember?
I would have to say my first frustration was the internet.
Oh.
I didn't know what it was, and I don't know what I could do with it, and I was just like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this,
Right.
and how I'm going to use it. And then my dad told me that it can be used for like research when I do my homework, or
Yes.
just to play around with, and it has many uses.
Yes. Okay. And for other teenagers out there, do you suggest that they do invest some time into just exploring? Were you allowed to do that, or did your parents immediately set a like a program for you?
No,
Were you given time to?
they were giving me time to just like research on the computer and do like
To play
little
with it.
things, just play with it. And I say that most teenagers need to have a computer because it's easier, like when you need research and homework, instead of
Yes.
just going all the way to the library and getting books and stuff. Books, they help, but it really helps to have a computer and more research so you can read on the computer.
Certainly, you can read on the computer, but I'm also an avid promoter of actually opening a book and turning pages, so we'll probably disagree on that. I think we need to do more of that. Okay, so for homework purposes, it's convenient. Yes, it's at home. You don't have to run out. You can do it in your house shoes and in your bathrobe, right? You don't have to get all dressed up to go somewhere. That's excellent. And with your 6-year-old sister, is that correct? She's
Yes,
6?
she's 6.
So what have you shown her?
I've just shown her how to get on the computer because she likes typing. She doesn't know what she's typing.
No, she
but
just go on and
she just
bang, bang,
starts
bang, bang.
typing. Sometimes she'll type her name.
Yes.
And I'm just teaching her the keys on the board, not to just go around touching stuff.
Yes.
And I'm teaching her how to click onto the internet and how to go on sites like zoodisney.com and disney.com, stuff like that.
Excellent. Okay. So, how do you feel? Like, is it like teaching a child how to drive, or do you have any kind of anxious moments? Is there any similarity to that, or?
Well, there's some. It's just as long as you guide the child right, then everything should, it should be a wonderful experience for them to learn, because there's so many places on the internet you can go. I mean, like, not many people can travel the world.
True.
But if you go on the internet, you can travel the world just right there from your own living room or from your own study. Just click on Africa. You can go to Africa, see what it's like, see the terrain, the animals that are there, the
Right.
type of insects. I mean, just a little, what type of grass grows in the
Yes.
Africa desert or whatever,
Right.
which is pretty sure none, but but you'll find all that out.
Yeah.
Like I said, in books, reading is an excellent thing.
Yes.
But books and the internet, they can work together.
Right. And
So
they actually
it-
should be used
yes,
to complement one.
yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so if you come across something in the book and say, "Oh, I don't know, let me," then you can access, because it's that's why it's called the World Wide Web.
Okay.
It's worldwide.
Absolutely, yes.
So basically, anything that you can think of, just type it into a search engine, it comes up.
Yes, right. And the fact that it is so accessible, and also the bulk of the books and so forth.
Yes.
In this computer, you can open many pages
Yes.
rather than carrying around a whole ton of books, right? Schlepping
Yes.
through the city with a bunch of books.
Yes.
That's a good thing. Do you intend to... well, you say you like working with computers. We were talking in the green room, and you mentioned that you really enjoyed creating a somewhat of a website or a design recently. Tell us about that.
Yes.
How it,
I had a homework assignment. I had to do a biography and I had to do a timeline.
Yes.
So instead of just writing out a timeline on plain paper, I decided to go on a program. I forgot what it was called.
PowerPoint presentation.
PowerPoint
okay,
presentation.
yes.
And my mom told me to type in some titles because I had pictures of me. And I downloaded the pictures into the computer, and she told me to type titles for them. So instead of just typing titles, I typed titles, and I put pictures, and then I put the background with pictures and slide-ins, and put music to it too.
okay. So based on your mother's suggestion, she sort of initiated, and then you actually went even a step further and added things, and like you said, what was the term, a slide?
A slideshow. It's a slideshow where you can have like beams of light come down on your pictures, and it can zigzag in, or it can fade out.
So that's special effects?
Yes, special effects.
Right. Oh, that sounds very interesting. I'd like to see that. So, again, your mother made one suggestion, and you, out of your own initiative, you took your own initiative and did something more. You became creative with it because, once you started something, you found out that, oh, if I do this, or let me
Yes.
try this, and I'm certain that's accredited to your enthusiasm too, which
Yes,
is
it
really
is.
good. Do you think the computer has increased your enthusiasm for your work, or?
Yes, it has. First of just reading books, when you, like my dad said, and reading books, like if I don't get something in like my language book or my math book, I'll just go on the internet, and it can help me out if like if my parents are busy and I need another suggestion on what I should do. I can just go on the internet. They have homework helpers on the internet, so it helps me a lot during my schoolwork.
Right. So it's an added tool, and not to replace the parent or the book. It's an additional tool in your house, and you know how to make use of it, or you're being taught that this is what it is simply, and not that you should become totally dependent on that computer, right?
Yes.
Right. And that has something to do with the parents again. Let's get back to that. So I know some parents who are desperately trying to get their children away from computers. And I spoke to one just yesterday, and her child went to visit a cousin, and she was anxious to go get her children because that's all they do at the cousin's house is sit before the computer.
Yes.
Yeah. So
computers can be addictive. Because most kids that I've seen, they like to go to chat rooms and stuff like that. But chat rooms are good, but for kids, you have to really watch it, because chat rooms at the same time can be dangerous, especially to children, and you just really have to monitor what your young children do. As your children get older and they learn more, then they know what they can and what they can't do.
right. Or should they come across something, they already have a reference and some guidance as like, this is not what I should be.
Exactly.
Yes, okay.
Exactly.
All right. A computer works culture is what we are in. The thrust of it seems like there's no going back. Do you believe?
No, there's no going back. There's no going back.
This is our today and our future.
Yes,
You believe
that it is.
Okay. Is that okay with you, Savannah?
It's perfectly
You
fine
enjoy
with me.
So you haven't yet wanted to throw your computer out the window?
No.
Okay. All right. So, and do you tell your friends? Is it something that you also can share with your friends?
Yes, I share with my friends a lot. That's mostly what we talk about. Like, we talk about different sites that we can go on that our parents will say yes to.
Okay.
And we talk about like things like we can communicate together if we can't use a phone, parents
Right.
are on the phone,
Okay.
we'll get email addresses and we can email each other back and forth, so it's another way to communicate with
So
somebody.
it does blend into your social
Yes, it
activities as well as a social way. All right, thank you. We have more. We'll be back in a moment. Thank you.
If someone did this to your neighborhood, you'd want to get even too.
Okay, it's Miss Cynthia's LA. Today's topic is computer works, a computer works culture, which is what we are discussing. I have Miss Savannah Jones and Mr. Charles Jones here with us. Savannah representing the teenage techie, and Mr. Charles Jones is here as an expert and a technical consultant.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And wanted to talk now about your community outreach. You have been working with the community at large, and this is what you said earlier, that your mission is to provide for the urban community where otherwise it would not be affordable. Tell us more, please, about
one of the things that we do, we offer internet services. I mean, for some people who don't have computers at home, we offer a service where they can come into the shop, sit down at the computer and just access the internet for whatever reasons they want. For people who's not really too familiar, we'll create an email address, because most people come into the store looking for jobs, and they can use the internet service for that. I mean, versus going, because they have other places where you can go, like the unemployment offices, but sometimes your time is limited on the computer.
Oh,
so
certainly. I know they do have those one-stop places, but
Yes,
again, there are a lot of people there, and it's usually
and it's crowded, so we offer that service for people to come in
fabulous.
and just to browse the internet looking for work. Or
Okay. And you are a full-service organization
We are
as far
full
as
service.
you
We
have, again, the walk-in, the internet usage.
Yes,
And
we design websites, web pages,
fabulous. Good.
just about anything computer related we deal with.
I know you've been giving a consultation to one company, Turning New Corners is a mentoring outreach organization, and you've been providing consultation to them, and
Yes.
because it's an upstart company, and that's
Yes.
been really great. Other peoples and organizations have you been assisting? Or?
We deal with a lot of nonprofit organizations
Right.
who try to help people with, with just their living skills and just to try and get those people on the right track, and we deal with that a lot.
So again, people in transition,
Yes.
which is what we deal with.
And that's really what the community needs, someone to help,
Yes.
and especially with those aspects,
Right.
because there's a need, and we can't fulfill everyone's
No, of
needs,
course
but
not.
we want to at least help with who needs it, and if we come across someone who needs that particular help, then we will provide it for them.
Right, within reason and so forth.
Yes.
And I know, again, there was a group of, I believe it's former, I don't know if they were people of some type of drug or other social ills,
Yes.
but they actually came in, were provided assistance
Yes,
on,
they were.
on
They-
training, right?
Yes, they were. They
to
we
help
have a
enhance their life.
we have a classroom setting there, and we had an instructor. She came in and that's what she did. She instructed them, just trying to get them on the right track.
Very good.
Because that's, most people who come out of the correctional facilities, they need somewhere to go and something to
Absolutely.
do. So if you don't give anyone something to do and someplace to go, they're going to end up right back where they were, and that's what we really don't want.
Okay, so there's a place for computers in all of our lives, whether we are underserved and underrepresented, which absolutely is a helping tool to those people.
Yes.
It's there for the teenagers in the sense that it's going to encourage them and excite them to do their work even more, gets them more enthusiastic about it. And it's there for the professional and those who are actually just looking for another profession, actually, because it is the
Yes.
profession of tomorrow, it seems. Computers are here to stay. You agree?
They're here to stay. Everyone needs to have a computer in their home.
And I'm
It's-
sure there's so much more we can talk about, and we do intend to have a part 2 of this series. Again, it's a Computer Works Culture, and thank you for joining us, on Miss Cynthia's LA. If you have any questions for either of our guests and their works, please call us at 818-550-8329.
Mr. Pepitone, can I get an autograph of this baseball? Caught it in the middle of a home game interlude. I was looking around the town for the meaning of existence. I found candy in the bleachers with a lighted tip to truth. Anthony the pigeon and Tommy